When I was in the military, the first Persian Gulf War, I was in the Navy and we had these big binoculars. And as we're on the water, we had to look in the water for something called mines. Well, on land, we know what mines are, man, where you walk on the ground. And then if you step on it, you blow up. And so I was 21 years old and we're out there looking for mines, but I'm like, why? They didn't explain to us. And I'm joking. All the 21-year-olds on the ship, we're joking. Ha ha ha. We're looking for mines in the water, blah, blah. We're laughing, laughing, laughing. At 2 o'clock in the morning, a ship less than 50 miles away hit a mine. And then at 5 o'clock, another ship hit a mine. I became a man like that.
Real men, raw stories, radical perspectives. This is the voice of authentic masculinity. This is Manhood Speaks. Anthony Lane, welcome to Manhood Speaks.
Thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you. So let's dive straight into it.
Okay.
Tell me, Anthony, what is your main roles or missions at this moment in your life?
Wow. My main rule and my main mission, let's start off with my main mission first. My main mission is to be happy, to be happy in everything that I do. And my main rule is to don't stress. You know, as much as I can only control what's in my power. If it's not in my power, then it's not for me to stress or lose control or anything. Yeah.
And where are you right now in terms of career?
First, you said encourage.
No, where are you right now in terms of your career?
So my career right now, I am a transformation coach, and I am working with people to really develop who they really are, to reestablish their voice. You know, before the world told us who we need to be, we were, we were made in the image of God, but because of our family, friends, and society, they made us into whatever. And now I'm working with people to find out who they really are.
When you say transformation coach,
yeah,
what does a transformation coach do?
So a transformation coach takes an individual from an area that they are right now into let's say a like an exercise coach, but for your mind and for your body. Right now, you don't like the bad habits that you have. You want to develop healthier habits, eating habits, thinking habits. You want to break free of some of the things that you did. But a transformation, my job is to let people know that they're not broken. They just have some things, their foundation is solid. But when they make little adjustments in their life, then they will get to where they want to go, such as self-discipline. Some people don't have self-discipline, but I work with them to in their areas of self-discipline to help them, grow in different ways. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you see coaching as your purpose?
I do. Before, I helped so many different people when I was in the military. I did 22 years in the military. And while I was I was always helping people get promoted and just do the right thing for themselves and for the military. Before I even joined the military, people naturally were drawn to me and were speaking to me and just talking. And one day I said, there's a way that I can do this professionally and get paid all at the same time. And so people have always come to me for some type of advice or some type of assistance. And I actually love it.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Also, being a vet myself, the military holds a very close and dear place to my heart.
Yeah.
Tell me, Anthony, what values did you pick up while in the military as it pertains to manhood and masculinity?
The values in regards to manhood and masculinity. Value number one is to take responsibility for my actions and not to give the blame to someone else. If I do something wrong, raise my hand and say that, hey, I did right, I did wrong. That's one. And two, in terms of leadership, if I'm leading someone, then, and they do something, and my team does something right, then to give them praise, to give them, say, hey, good job, let's do this, and not to take their good deeds and say that I did it for myself. Okay. That was, and what was the other one? What was the first one?
But how did the military impact your view of manhood and masculinity? Yeah.
Okay. In of masculinity, I kind of developed that by looking at other men that were in my life. I took bits and pieces. It was not one person that gave me everything. I took a little here, a little there, and just made it my own. I'm comfortable in my own skin and who I am. I'm very comfortable in letting another man, hey, you know what? I like the clothes you have on. It makes you look good. I like how your body looks when you're not when you're exercising, but I can tell you're working out. Some men are not comfortable in their manhood and their masculinity to give a compliment to another man. I'm comfortable with hugging a man and saying, hey, bro, I love you. And some of the men I grew up around and in the military, they wouldn't say that. As a matter of fact, a lot of them told me don't say that because, it's like, no, I know who I am. And I know that as a man, we need that encouragement from another man to keep going. And that it's just and to help us with that self-confidence of who we are. Yeah.
Why do you think men have an issue with being comfortable, like hugging another man? And I'm not talking like the bro hugs, but
a full hug.
Full hug. Yeah. Why do you think men are uncomfortable doing that with another man?
Because men have been talked about so much. If we show any sign of sensitivity, then they make fun of us. And they think because we're nice, we're kind, we show love, we show compassion, they think that is weak. But that is a symbol of strength. Because you know who you are, and because so when men show some type of emotion, then they're made fun of. Oh, you're a girl. you're this, you're that. It's a lot of negative things that they say about men when they show their sensitive side, when they show vulnerability.
Yeah.
And that is, it's up for that man to decide if he's going to be vulnerable or not for society to decide. I have met men that will give me a hug and then go fight, not because of they gave me a hug or they said, "Hey man, I love you." It's because someone said something negative to them. They tried to take advantage. Oh, you're hugging another man. Well, I can take advantage of you. No, they got beat up. Because I'm hugging another man makes me weak. No, let me show you how strong that I am.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Anthony, you seem to have a very interesting view when it comes to manhood.
Uh-huh.
It isn't something that you hear other men speak about.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a bit about your upbringing.
So my upbringing was, surprisingly, it's four of us. I have three sisters and I am the youngest. I'm the baby. And I grew up around a bunch of women.
Oh.
And so you would think that I would be more soft and sensitive. I am, but I'm not. And so my upbringing was, always pay attention to my surroundings. And don't be afraid to tell someone that you love them, whether it is a man or a woman. And also, before I talk, think before I talk, not to just start saying whatever. For me to really think about what I'm saying before I say it. And some of the men, and I also grew up in a church to where some of the men, again, because if they were sensitive, they were taken as weak. And so I had to, I've always made those adjustments in my life that benefited me. I have to come first, because if I don't, if I put someone else first, then I'm neglecting myself. So, Kino, that goes back to me just saying, I take a little bit from each person, from my mom, my dad, my sisters, and my uncles. I take a little bit from each one of them. That helped shape me to be the man that I am today. Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you.
Because actually, that was going to be my follow-up question as to who were the male figures in your life that had an impact on you.
Yeah.
And your view of manhood.
Right.
So that's great.
Well, and just to, go on top of that also, my dad, he was strong, but he was also in the military, and he fought in the Vietnam War.
Oh.
And he came back. He was not kind of messed up. He was messed up to where he drank all the time. Before he went into the military, he didn't drink at all. But once he got out, he drank a lot. But I learned a lot from him, and to not suppress my feelings. And then I had another man that was my godfather, who really also taught me how to, even more to pay attention to, just who who I am, and how to treat women, and just how to respect people for who they are. So, yeah.
You made a point there that you were taught to not suppress your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And boys are often programmed to not express their feelings.
Right.
That boys aren't to cry.
Right.
And I guess when they grow up, they become men who
Don't
refuse to cry.
Yep.
Because it is seen as weakness.
Right.
Can you speak a bit deeper on that as to why it is so important to not suppress your feelings as a man?
I can speak about me because I remember a few times that I was in the military and I held the stress, the pressure of my personal life and my professional life inside. And then someone said one thing and all of a sudden I just broke. I just start crying. I was very angry and I'm like, I cannot continue to do this. And then, so I got to a point to where when things bothered me, I spoke about it. And when I got married and you know, speaking to my wife, she would upset me. And I knew if I held it in, it was going to come out very negatively. So what you put in, if you take a soda and shake it and then open it, it's going to be all over the place. But if you take it and slowly release the top and let out that pressure a little bit at a time, then maybe a little will come out or maybe none will come out. And that's how we are as men. If we hold that in, once you and you're shaken up, you're going to explode on everyone. And sometimes that ends in road rage. It ends in anger. It ends in violence, where you're beating your kids, you're beating your partner, you're doing something wrong, you're taking it out on your people that you work with. And because I am a transformation coach, I know that there's things that are underlying issues. And when we find out what they are, then we know how to handle them. You know, and for me, when I found out why I was holding my stress in, my anger in, my negative energy, why I was holding it in, I was like, wow. I was peeling back the onions, the layers of the onion that I didn't even know that I was holding in. It was things that happened to me years ago, like when I was a kid, that I didn't know I was still holding on to this stress. And when I let it go, I felt amazing. Yeah.
Wow. That is such a valuable lesson for men, because I think a lot of us, I used to do that as well. I would keep my emotions locked in. I remember there was a time I hadn't cried in over 7 years.
Yeah.
And every emotion that you keep locked in, it eventually finds a way out.
It finds a way.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, based on your experience, maybe that is why we are seeing the level of violence by men, because they have been suppressing their emotions for so long.
Right.
That's such a valuable lesson.
Yeah, and we as men, we don't have an escape to where we have to be strong all the time. We have to be strong at work. We have to be strong at home. We have to be strong for our kids. We have to be strong. But all of that strength still needs to be let go. And then I know a lot of men, the first time I cried in front of my wife because I was stressed, I was just like, I just had to let it go. And my wife didn't know what to do.
Wow.
She was like, "Oh, why are you crying?" I'm just like, and then I stopped crying around her. I stopped. If I cannot let my guard down at home around my spouse, then something's going to happen. But then I also had to learn my spouse was pushing my buttons. I had to rearrange my buttons so she wouldn't push them. She didn't know where they were to upset me. So that's one way I learned how to control my energy, is to not let you know what buttons to push. Yeah.
I think that also is a very important lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never heard it put across like that, where your experience was you cried and your wife was pretty much confused. She didn't know what to do,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm guessing in her mind, her perception is men don't cry.
Men don't
So
cry.
here I have my husband crying. Like,
Yeah.
what? And I think that there's need for that re-education. So not only for our men, but also for our women,
Yes.
that it is normal that expressing emotions, a man crying, it is normal. It is a natural part of the human experience.
Right.
So that's a valuable point.
Right. Right.
And can you tell me of a personal challenge or lesson that has had a lasting impact on you?
When I was in the military, the first Persian Gulf War, I was in the Navy, and we had these big binoculars. And as we're on the water, we had to look in the water for something called mines. Well, on land, we know what mines are, man, where you walk on the ground, and then if you step on it, you blow up. And so I was 21 years old, and we're out there looking for mines, but I'm like, why? They didn't explain to us. And I'm joking. All the 21-year-olds on the ship were joking. Ha, ha, ha. We're looking for mines in the water, blah, blah. We're laughing. At 2:00 in the morning, a ship less than 50 miles away hit a mine. And then at 5:00, another ship hit a mine.
Oh,
I became a man like that.
wow.
And
Wow.
I knew from that point when to get serious, when to play games. And how to organize people to make sure the best thing happens for everyone, that no one is hurt. And when someone doesn't take it serious, I don't have to yell at them. I can just talk to them. It depends on the situation. I have been in car accidents, and I get out of the car, I start to get upset, then I'm like, this is just a car. I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine. You hit me, or I hit you. I've been in several car accidents. But who I am, I'm still here. There has been times to where I couldn't pay my bills, and I started to get upset. But I've never had a call from a bill collector that says, we're going to kill you, take your life, take your manhood, take your kids if you don't pay this bill. No, they're just going to keep calling you. So I had to put things into perspective, things that I can control, things that I cannot control. So, all of that helped me to become, even more of who I am and what I'm really meant to do, and just really, and so when I talk to other men, of controlling who they are and what they have control over. So hopefully I answered that question for you. That was a long way.
That's good. You did. You mentioned that this experience at the age of 21, it ushered you into manhood.
Mm-hmm.
What was before this experience? Were you aware that you were a man? And at what point in time did that awareness come about?
Here in the U.S., they say, "Oh, you're a man at 18 years old. You're an adult." No, you're not. You're not. You still have those childish ways of things that you do. And for me, that was the defining moment for me. Of course, legally by the court system, I was an adult, but I wasn't a man. A man is someone who is go back to what I said, is take responsibility for their actions. I made a mistake, then, hey, I'm going to own up to it. And for me to see both sides of it, all of that happened at that age. And then there was other little things that happened later on that really defined that for me even more, because it doesn't happen like that for everyone. Everyone doesn't join the military. We have little things that happen to us, but if, let's say our parents, our mom, because they're the nurturer.
Yeah.
And I have a friend right now, her son, she's a single mom, and she doesn't allow her son, she paid for her son's college. When her son has had a kid, she took responsibility, partially responsible for that. She's helps pay his child support. She helps pay this. Like, let him be a man. He did that, not you. And so when we as caretakers, parents, guardians, whoever, when we don't let our men be men, then that hurts also. That hurts a lot.
You served 22 years in the military.
Uh-huh.
What are the benefits do you see when it comes to a man being in an institution where there's a sense of brotherhood? And even if he isn't in an institution, what are the benefits to a man being a part of a brotherhood?
You get to really get to know them. I was on a ship with no women, and we talk to each other. And when we were wrong, we put each other in not disrespectfully. You shouldn't say that, man. Think of it in a different way. Why are you so negative? Well, that's how I think. Well, can you think about it in a different way? Hey, let's go out, out on town just to have fun. We don't have to drink. If we drink, we're going to watch after each other, look after each other. When we're on a ship, we're watching after each other. I know men that went to college and they didn't go to the military, but they have a core group of friends that they didn't grow up with, They just become friends and learn each other, look after each other. Hey, I know you can do better than that. You're thinking very positively. I like that. And so it's the bonding comes from good men wanting to see other good men do better. And I have witnessed, gangs here in the U.S. to where it was a brotherhood. A lot of times it was negative, but that's all they had. So people come together because, there's a term, misery loves company and happiness loves company. For me, I love happiness. I love talking with men like you who have a different outlook on life. And so that's what it gave me. It gave me a different outlook.
Society, and I would say some aspects of society, push a narrative of men are loners, that they are ultra competitive, and it is, in a sense, you against the world. What is your view on that alpha male type of man?
So breaking it down even simpler than that, even if you have an alpha male and alpha male walk into the same room wearing the same shirt, both of them will say, hey, you look good in that shirt. And then that's it. When it comes to business is different. I have to feed my family. You have to feed your family. You want this car. I want this car. So the competition kicks in. And whether you are a alpha male, a dominant male, a masculine male, or a feminine male, a part of you is going to kick in to where I have to make this work. And if I cannot make it work with this person because they're trying to take control over me and I don't want to speak up, then I'm going to find another way to make it work. Steve Jobs was not an alpha male. Warren Buffett is not an alpha male. Bill Gates is not an alpha male, but they're billionaires. So I know a lot of alpha males that are homeless because they let their attitudes, their anger, their frustration of something that happened 20 years ago, 20 years ago, is still disturbing them today. But when something good happened to them, they brush it off and go right back to the negative thing. So, it's up to that individual, whether he's a alpha male, a masculine male, a dominant male, or submissive male. They have to make it work for themselves and search within themselves, like, why am I like this? Why? Either why do I let people walk over me, or why am I so controlling?
That man who is still controlled by something that took place in his past, how many years ago? What should he do to overcome that control and to, in essence, regain control of his life?
So those are called triggers. We all have triggers. And once you recognize a trigger, ask yourself, why is this triggering me like this? It's very simple. Why is it triggering me that this person is speaking over me? Oh, I know why. Because my dad used to do it. My mother's boyfriend used to do it. Because no one would let me talk. Oh man, I'm no longer that person. Let me work on this. So it's all about identifying the triggers that the things that you're getting upset with or just making you react emotionally, and then start making little adjustments. I'm not saying big adjustments, because you cannot go, there's this term, you cannot go from angry to happy in 5 seconds. You cannot do it. Because if you're super angry and then you want to be super happy, no, it takes time. And that time is you learning about who you are and the person you want to become. Mm-hmm.
If you were to compare your view of manhood a decade ago to where you are today, what significant changes would you see?
I let go. I let go of the things that were happening. Before, I was holding on to it. And Kinu, let me tell you, as recently as Thursday, a few days ago, 2 days ago, I was trying to please my wife, please my kids, and please everyone else. But that was putting a block on my body, on my, like, let's say it was dealing around finances. And I'm like, why can I not make this money? Why can I? And then I have that built up emotion in my muscles that I have to do this. But then I'm like, I have to take care of myself. I care for them, but I cannot let them stop me. And so the man today that sits before you today is still learning how to be a better man, how to be a better person. A few years ago, let's say 5 years ago, I was on that path, but I really didn't care. I cared, but I didn't care on the outside, but on the inside, I was still trying to please people. I was trying to make people happy. I was the center of the party. I was making everyone laugh. I was making everyone have a good time. And now I don't do that. And people ask, Anthony, are you okay? What's wrong? I'm like, oh, I'm just sitting here relaxing. Oh, you're the life of the party. Ha, ha, ha. No, I'm not your comedian. I'm not going to make you laugh. That's okay. Sorry. But I was making jokes. I'm just going to say this and I'll be quiet. So I was making jokes to make everyone else feel good. And I was suppressing my own emotions. I was suppressing who I was.
That is deep. What triggered that change? Was there a specific event that made you decide that I'm now going to let go of stuff?
Honestly, I got a coach. I got a coach to coach me. And then he started identifying these things. You know, we identified them together. They were asking me very powerful questions.
Yeah.
And then, and when I start asking these powerful questions to myself, why do I do this? Why do I do this? Wow, because when I was younger, no one paid attention to me.
No.
Have you heard of Eddie Murphy?
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, when he was a kid, he was always making jokes. And he's young. He was the youngest. He is the youngest of his siblings. And so he was always trying to make people laugh because he was the youngest. No one paid attention to him if he didn't make them laugh. But when he made them laugh, then they paid attention to him. And so that's his scapegoat. And so for me, by me being the youngest and just growing up around a bunch of people, I felt I didn't have a voice. But when I realized I do have a voice, that's when I started making a change also with my coach. And I start making those slight changes to better myself.
Okay. You mentioned something earlier where you said that you tried, or your attempts before was to make people happy,
right,
while suppressing your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how that affected.
I didn't have anyone to talk to. I couldn't. I'm not going to say I couldn't. I just didn't have anyone to talk to express who I was, because they wanted me to make them laugh, or they want to give me their problems. You can give me your problems or your issues, but who am I going to talk to? Now I surround myself with other men and women that I can talk to freely. And it doesn't matter if it's something super crazy or something super intelligent. I have people that I can talk to, and they not hold it against me. But they call me on my bull crap if necessary. So, yeah.
So, in essence, this individual is someone who is open to listen to you, but also to keep you accountable in your actions.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
Tell me a bit more about coaching. What is coaching?
Coaching is not counseling. Coaching is not therapy. Coaching is not mentorship. Coaching is not telling you what to do. Coaching is me guiding you to the place that you want to go.
You guiding me to the place that I want to go. Okay, yeah. That sounds interesting.
So something very simple. If you want water and you don't know where to get water, I'm going to ask you questions to make you remember, now I remember where to go get water from.
Okay.
So that water is metaphoric. If you're having issues with every time you drive down the street, you're getting upset because someone cuts you off, my job is to ask you questions for you to realize, when did that first upset you and why does it upset you so much? If you want to be a better person, my job is to ask you questions to say, I'm not a better person because my parents and everyone that I see were assholes. Everyone in my family were mean, cruel. That's all I grew up around. So my job is to ask you the right questions and have you think very deeply on why you're doing what you're doing. And to let you know, you're not broken. It's just you're human. We're making adjustments. as we go. So, if I write a book, my book can help you as a man, but it's not going to help every man.
Yeah.
So you take a little bit from here, a little bit from here. And so me coaching you may work, but the next person, it may not work. And I'm okay with that.
So coaching, in a sense, it is you asking me these questions for me to dig deeper to find my answers. Not you giving me answers.
I'm not giving you answers.
Okay.
I can just go back to the water. I can show you where the water is. And then once I get you to the water, you're like, oh, I remember this. I just forget. Or I can ask you questions to trigger a thought so you can remember yourself where it is.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is beneficial for someone to have a coach? Why do you think should a man have a coach? Why should a man have a coach?
Well, I'm a man. I'm a very good man. And I wanted to be a better person. I wanted to be a better person for my children, for my spouse, for my sisters, my mom, my dad, everyone. I want to be a better person, but mainly I want to be a better person for me. And I was like, okay, what to do? And I start searching for answers that my friends didn't have. I start asking questions that they didn't know. And so I had to find people that knew the answer. When I got out of the military, let's say when I left home, I didn't know anyone that made over $50,000 a year. No one. When I got out of the military, I didn't know anyone that made over $100,000 a year. And so when I start surrounding myself with those people, oh, this is possible. Yes. This is possible. So now when I talk to someone, I ask them, I said, I don't want any money. Are you making more than $100,000 per month? Because that's $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And so they say, yes, I am. No, I'm not. And they say, why? I say, well, because I want to surround myself with someone that is doing, I want to know someone that is doing it. Because if I know that you can do it, I know that I can do it. I can look at people on television, but I don't know them.
Yeah.
If I know that you're doing good, that you change your mind, your mindset, and then you're becoming a better person, then I know that I can become a better person.
Fine.
So for a man seeking coaching, that man has to want to be a better person. And because I am seeking coaching, I'm seeking to be a better person. Now I know in my body, if I want to make $100,000 per month or per day, I have the mindset in my body to know that I can do it. Before, I didn't know that I can do it. I didn't think that I can do it because whether I see it or not, you can be right there in my face.
Yeah.
And I would still think negatively, oh, that happened to you. That's never going to happen to me. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. It's for a man to want coaching, they have to want to do better in life.
Yeah.
And personally or professionally, both of them go together. There's no separating your personal life and your professional life. There's no separating. They both go together, because when you have a very good day at work, you're going to take that home and have a very good day. When you have a very good day at home, you're going to go into work.
I'm the man.
I'm the man. Your kids are happy. Your kids are eating. Your wife is happy. You're treating your wife good. You're treating your wife good. Both ways, everyone is happy in the house. You're going to go to work and you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
But if you're pissed off at work and you're pissed off at home, that means you're pissed off at your own life.
Mm.
And people don't want to hear this. We are responsible for our own lives. You're not responsible for my life. The president of whatever country, the president of the job, no one is responsible for my life. Only I'm responsible.
I am.
Yeah. So if I get fired, it's because of me.
And I guess that ties back into what you said, that manhood, that part of manhood is about responsibility. Accepting responsibility for your actions, or lack of action in some instances.
Lack of action, yeah.
I served a decade and a half in the military.
Okay.
You served 2 decades. I recently got out of the military.
Okay.
And for me, it's still a challenge in terms of that transition. Because, as you know, the military is it's very structured.
Yes.
And leaving that environment to come back into the civilian environment, things are different.
Yes.
It's a bit challenging. How did you navigate that transition? Leaving a career, a place that you spend so many years of your life, and transition out and become a fully functional individual in a new environment.
Right. So, one, the military gives you discipline, but they don't give you self-discipline. Big difference. Discipline, do this, do that, jump here, jump there, do this, do that. Self-discipline is I'm directing myself to get out of bed at 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock to go to the gym, exercise, and come home, eat the right way, and then do what I need to do to make money. The structure that the military gave, it was all organized. We had something that was, this is happening today, this is happening tomorrow, this is happening next quarter, next year. We knew what was happening before it happened. Our lives, only if we plan it. I have a calendar. You have a calendar. All of us have a calendar. All of us don't use it. When we put stuff on our calendar and then we follow our calendar, then we can stay structured. We can stay disciplined for ourselves, which is called self-discipline. So I retired in 2012. From 2012 to 2017, I maybe exercised 3 or 4 times.
Oh,
that's it.
Wow.
And one day I was coming down the stairs and I felt something jiggling. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's fat. And I thought it was a bug. So I had to restructure my life, personally, professionally, everything, to put this has to happen as a priority. So when you set it as a priority in your life, it will happen. It will happen. Right now, your family is a priority. that means you're part of your family. So you say, okay, I have to make this happen. And so how can I make it happen? I have to, for being a coach, to being a podcast host, you know that you have to make sure your headphones are working, your speaker is working, your camera is working properly, and then the recording. So you put these things in place to make sure that it's happening. So that's structure. Now take that and expand it to other areas of your life. That was what I had to do for my life. I had to expand it to other areas to make it more meaningful for me.
That's interesting. I asked that question because I noticed that men often tie their identity to what they do. And there's often a challenge when they are no longer in this particular job or serving in this particular position. It has psychological and emotional impact on them. And I have noted that a significant number of my colleagues, after they left the military, that they died within 2 to 3 years. So it has raised questions in my mind, as in, how does a man whose identity was once tied to his job, how does he begin that process to shift his identity, to take up a new identity, a new career?
So it's about redefining yourself. I had to redefine myself several times. And sometimes it was easy and sometimes it was not easy. And so when you redefine who you are and what you really want, then that helps. I had to ask myself, Anthony, I looked myself in the mirror and said, who are you?
That's, oof, yeah.
Yeah, who are you? Like, who are you and what do you want, dude? I remember driving a few years after I got out, switching jobs, and I'm just yelling at myself, looking in the mirror like, what do you want? Make up your mind and freaking do it.
I think that is so powerful. I've never heard that before. Looking into the mirror and asking yourself, who are you? That is so powerful. Yeah. Wow.
And it came back to me at first. Oh, you work security. You do this. You do this. You're a dad. You're a husband. No. That's what I do. What I do right now, I'm a coach. What I do right now, I sell houses. What I do right now, I'm a husband. I'm a father. That's not who I am. So I answered this question for myself a few years ago. I said, who are you? I said, oh, I'm an extension of God. And I didn't have to say anything else. I'm not Anthony, because I heard something so funny a few days ago. It said, you are renting your body.
That is true. I've never thought of that before, but that is true.
You're not your body. You're not your hair. I am 50. I'm turning 55 this year. I don't believe that I will be alive for another 55 years. So what does that mean? That means half of my life is behind me.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do with it? Am I going to please everyone else, or am I going to take care of business for me to make sure my grandkids and my great grandkids are good? So what do you do?
Mention your kids, your grandkids, and your great grandkids. Why is it important for a man to think of his legacy?
Because you don't, hopefully, if you're not a selfish man, that you don't want your family to go through the same things that you went through. Some days growing up, we didn't eat because we didn't have money to eat. Some days our electricity or our water or something was turned off, or we were in the food line. I don't want that to happen to, my children or my grandchildren. And so therefore, I want to have a better life and save and pass it down to them so they're not struggling. I want to pass down good things, not negative things. I want to pass the struggle. And sadly enough, that happens a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And it happens because our parents or someone in our life says, your dad was no good, you're no good, your dad was in jail, you're going to go to jail, your dad was a piece of shit, you're going to be a piece of shit. No, that was my dad. That's not me. I don't care if you grew up around it or not. That is not me. Your dad beat women, you're going to be, no. That is not me. Do not associate me. That's my dad, but what he did, that's what he did.
Yeah.
And there is a way that you can break generational curses. A generational curse is where my dad beat my mom. My dad beat his girlfriend. My dad beat me, my sisters, the dog, the cat. My dad beat everyone. But no one knew the demons that dad were carrying around.
Yeah.
Don't carry those same demons. Get rid of them. They're not yours. That was his burden to bear, not yours. So I had to learn that for myself. My dad was an alcoholic, an extreme to where he'll drink for 2 weeks straight. The time he woke up and he passed out, woke up, drank more. Brilliant. He was a licensed plumber, a licensed electrician, a licensed carpenter. He was a licensed mechanic. But he drank. Do I drink? Yes. Do I get crazy drunk? No. Do I get drunk? Yes. I would drink today, get drunk today, then I'm done. Because that's his burden. He was in Vietnam. Those were his demons. My mother loved to shop. Before she got paid, her paycheck was gone. Is that me? No, it's not me. My grandmother was dead by the age of 55 because she didn't take care of her body. Is that me? No, it's not. My grandfather had at least, I would say, 20 kids.
Wow.
20.
Wow.
By at least 4 different women or more. Is that me? No, it's not. So me as a man, I had to decide to decide. And people say, oh, that's not that easy. Well, guess what? Do you want ice cream? Yes. What flavor? Here, have this chocolate ice cream. I don't want chocolate ice cream. You just decided. It's easy as that. You want chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream. Make a decision. You want both? put them together. It's a decision. But to not decide, that's not good.
I've heard that. To not decide is also a decision. You're making a decision there.
Yeah.
Anthony, if you had a message to share to the man who is listening to you right now, what would that message be?
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, believe in yourself, believe in yourself. And do not tell everyone, or don't tell people what you're doing until you're doing it and you get it done. Because people with good intentions will say the wrong thing trying to protect you. Keanu, you really want to do a podcast? Who's going to listen to it? Is that the right thing for you? Well, you can do, can't you go do something else? No, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So men, let me tell you, the best person you can listen to is looking yourself in a mirror and making sure that's what you want to do. If you want to be a millionaire, if you want to do whatever you want to do it. And your partner, my wife and I have been together for 31 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, brother.
There's some things, I just made a decision a few days ago, I won't tell her. And she's like, well, why can't you tell me? I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm like, because you're going to ask questions with good intentions, but you don't know what you're talking about. And so therefore, out of respect for my sanity and her sanity, I don't say a word. So men, you know yourself, or please learn yourself. That's one thing. Learn who you are, learn your triggers, and make a decision to be who you want to be. Go where you want to go and do what you want to do. Make that decision. And my last thing is, if you want to be a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever you want to be, look at your attitude now. The same attitude you have now, if you're a negative person now, then you'll be a negative millionaire, a negative billionaire. If you're a good person now, then you'll be a good person, millionaire, good person, billionaire. But brother, I don't care what color you are, you're a human being. Male. Decide what you want and take responsibility for your actions. Look at your life right now. You are where you are because of the decisions you have made to this point. You can change them if you want.
And I hope that he wants to.
Exactly.
Anthony, where can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn under Anthony Lane. I have I can't remember. It's some simple picture. I look the same beard. And on YouTube. I have Facebook and Instagram, but I'm not on those because I found for myself it's a rabbit hole.
Oh.
When I go on Facebook and Instagram, I am on there for 2 hours doing
Doom
scrolling.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. So I have Facebook, I have Instagram, Anthony Lane again on all. I'm Anthony Lane on all of them.
No problem. I'll also put that also in the comment section.
I do
Show
appreciate it.
notes. Yeah. Anthony, it was a pleasure having you on Manhood Speaks. This was a very powerful and interesting and informative conversation.
I thank you, brother. And one thing that I found out, I've traveled. I traveled and lived in the Middle East. I lived in Asia. I lived in a couple other countries, Southwest Asian. People are basically the same all over the world. So I don't care if you're from, West Indies, Trinidad, Tobago, wherever.
Yeah.
The same, you're human. If you want to make a change, you can make that change.
Yes.
You might have to change your surroundings. You can make that change. If you cannot make that change in your surroundings physically, make that change in your mind. Daydream. So yeah, thank you all so much. And listen to this brother, this brother right here. He has a lot of good, well-spoken knowledge for you. And do a coaching consultation with him.
Thank you. And I invite listeners and viewers to do one with you as well. I'm also going to put all of that information there so they can connect with you.
Thank you so much, man.
I just want to say thank you for checking out the entire episode. Manhood Speaks is a space where regular men like you get to share their experiences so that they can inspire other men. If you wish to be a guest on this show, just send me an email at manhoodspeakspodcast@gmail.com. And I want to ask you to consider subscribing. When you subscribe, you are not just simply subscribing to another YouTube channel. You are becoming a part of a revolution. You are joining a community of brothers, men who are redefining what it means to be a man in modern society today. So subscribe, and I will see you in the next interview.